Welcome back everyone to another DSCC lab walkthrough. Today we'll be going over lab 3, routine exchange management. Our main tasks are to create a mailbox for existing user, manage mailbox permissions, move mailboxes to another database, set message size limits, and create an archive database for our mailbox users. Alright, so let's jump into lab 1, or task 1, which is to create a mailbox for an existing user. So I'm currently in my EAC on my Exchange 1, and I'm going to select my Recipients tab on the left hand side, and then my mailboxes. So I'm already in here right now. So now let's click on this plus sign and create a new user mailbox. Now the first thing we're going to configure is the alias for our mailbox. Now the only thing we need to put in this section is everything that comes before the @ sign. So for example, I will create this for myself. So I'll type in Alan.Andrade and I will leave the rest of it empty. I do not need to add the @ sign or my domain afterwards. Now this is for an existing account, but I can also create one for a new user, and I pretty much have the options to configure anything that I will need to an Active Directory from right here. But I'm going to create it for my current account, so I'm going to click on Browse and then select the account that I want to attach to this mailbox. For me, it'll be this A.Andrade account. So select your account and then click on OK at the bottom. Click on Save. Actually, before we do that, scroll down, select on More Options, and we are going to select the database where my mailbox is going to be housed in. I'm going to place this on Mailbox Database 1. So go ahead and select your mailbox database, and then click on OK. And then I will also check the box where it says create an on-premises archive mailbox for this user. Click on Browse. Let's select Mailbox Database 1. I do not currently have an archive database, so I can store it on the same database where my mailbox is being housed. So let's select Mailbox Database 1. All right, click on Save. And now I see that my user account is populated there with an email address. I successfully created a mailbox. Okay, now our next task is to manage mailbox permissions. So let's select the user account that we want to configure and then click on the edit pencil. And then select mailbox delegation. And in here we have a few options. We have send as option, and this allows us to delegate to send email from this mailbox. So this message will appear to have been sent by the mailbox owner, which is me, by whoever I select to put in this box. My next option is to send on behalf. Now this permission allows the delegate to send email on behalf of this mailbox. The from line in any message sent by a delegate indicates that the message was sent by the delegate on behalf of the mailbox owner. So they can send emails on my behalf, but the receiving person will still know that it wasn't sent from me, but from my delegate. And then I do have one more option at the very bottom, which is full access. Now, this permission allows the delegate to open this mailbox on behalf and behave as the mailbox owner. So if I give someone full access, they can do everything as if they were me. Now, some reasons you might allow, someone to send on behalf or maybe full access, things like that, is if you're going to be out of office and maybe the ability or position that you're currently filling is of high importance, or maybe you have a lot of high priority projects that you're currently, in charge of or play a big part of. And you don't want none of that stuff to get dropped, so you want to delegate some of these permissions to someone who's trusted within your organization. Right, so I'm going to add myself, my domain account, as full access at the very bottom. And this is how you delegate permissions on any mailbox. All right, now let's move mailboxes to another database. So let's click on the recipients portion of EAC, and then let's select migration at the top. Okay, now in here we're going to click the plus sign and select move to a different database. All right, in this first portion, we are going to select the users that we want to move. So I'm going to move my user email address that I just created in the previous task. I'll select them and then make sure that they're highlighted, and then click on add at the bottom, and then click on OK. And I also have the option to import users using a CSV file, but I don't have that right now. I don't have that many users. All right, so now in this page, we're going to name the migration batch. I'm going to name this site transfer to simulate that I am transferring a user from one database to a database that's hosted at a different site. I'll also select move the primary mailbox and the archive mailbox if one exists. Now in here, I'll select the target database, which is the database that I want to move this mailbox to. I'm going to select mailbox database 2 because I'm currently on mailbox database 1. And the target archive database is going to be 2 as well because it's currently hosted on mailbox database 1. We'll select next. We'll make sure that our batch is going to start automatically and automatically complete the migration. And I will also receive a report once it is complete to my DA account. Once I'm done with this, I'll click on new. All right, and now I see that my site transfer migration has a status of syncing. Once it's complete, it'll show a status of completed. Okay, now for task 4, we're going to set a message size limit on our mailbox. So let's click on recipients and then head to our mailboxes tab. We'll select the user that we want to set the message size limit on, and then click on edit. And then here, we are going to select mailbox features, and then scroll down, click OK on this warning. And then we are going to scroll down to message size restrictions. Right here, and let's click on view details. Okay, and now let's set a size restriction for sent messages and received messages. Now keep in mind that the unit of measure here is KB, so I want to set mine to 2 MB. I need to make sure that I have the correct unit of measurement. Now, off the top of my head, I don't know what 2 KB or 2 MB is in KB, but I think this is close enough. So we'll configure this, 2000, we'll click on OK, click on save, and that is how we set a message size limit on a mailbox. All right, now for our final task, we are going to create an archive database. Now this is very similar to how we create a normal mailbox database. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set a location for where we want our database to be stored. I'm going to go to my G drive, which is currently hosting my regular databases, And I'm going to create a new folder in here named archive database files. And then we'll create a new folder. This one will be named ARDB01 for archive database 01. And we will place this ARDB folder within the archive database files folder. All right, so there's my path. Let's minimize this and head back into our EAC. And let's navigate over to the servers portion of EAC. And then databases. And we'll click on new. And we will name this database ARDB01 for archive database 01. We'll click on browse. We want this database to be saved on Exchange 01. And then the database file path, we're going to change this to that new location that we just created in File Explorer. So let's clear this out. And let's copy the location or type the location of the file path that we just created, which is G drive archive database files / ARDB01 and then a slash. And then the log folder path, we're going to use the same log folder path that we have for the Exchange files. All right, so let's clear this out. This is also within my G drive, so we'll put G / Exchange log files / ARDB let's see, Exchange database logs, new folder, ARDB01. Okay, and then the last thing that we need to add in here will be, you'll see in a few minutes that I'll get this error because I forgot to add the actual .edb file under database file path, which is something that we need to add. Now, another thing to take note of is that when I did this walkthrough, if you look at the log folder path, it doesn't match what I actually have in File Explorer. But what ends up happening anyway is that this location or this file path gets created in my File Explorer on that G drive. All right, and there I am correcting the missing ARDB01.edb. We click on save. And then once this is saved, once this is created, I can then go ahead and save the archive mailbox on this database instead of the regular mailbox database that we have. So our regular mailbox users will have two locations for their files.